Hi everyone, Tori here today with a mixed media canvas. I was staring at the one that I made last time that I had up on my wall, and I was like, I want to make another one. And luckily I have some extra canvases just sitting in my cupboard, so I just grabbed one out and went for it. So I'm gonna walk you through how I did it. In total the video is only 13 minutes, but the project probably took me like an hour and a half. Which actually I don't think that is that bad for a project like this. So this canvas is just a cheapo one that I got at like a dollar store. Honestly, I think I might have paid $2 for it. And it's just shy of 12 by 12. It might be 11. No, I lied. It's 12 by 12. And I started by gessoing the background with a palette knife. Let that dry. And then I'm going to use some Dylusions paint to cover the background, and I didn't want it to be perfect. I really just wanted to get like a quick coat of a color on the background, and I knew that I wanted my color scheme for this project to be like blues and turquoises with some hints of purple and maybe some like reddish or pink. I decided to make this canvas for a friend, and I just know that she likes those colors, and she had asked me to make her one, and she had sent me some like images of things that she liked. So all of the projects that she had sent me had these kind of colors in them, so it worked really well. After I let that dry, I grabbed out some tissue paper um, from Tim Holtz and Dylusions, I think. No, Tim Holtz, I think, no, it's Tim Holtz. And sorry, I couldn't make up my mind. And I just tore it up into a bunch of like small pieces, and I used some matte Mod Podge to stick that down. And instead of putting it on a palette like I probably should have, I just sort of poured the glue right on the canvas, which made it easier in terms of like less mess to clean up, but not easier in terms of like I couldn't actually get, I ended up putting on too much glue, but that's okay. It all worked out well. You know, here's the thing with canvases and mixed media like this. Like, they're really intimidating when you see other people's projects and when you see things on like Pinterest and you think, oh my goodness, there's no way I could make that. And honestly, I had no idea where I was really going with this. I just started layering and layering and layering. And that's the trick with mixed media, is just layer, layer, layer. And I think it's best to go with colors that look well together. Like, look at the color wheel and pick 3 colors that are close to each other and go with those. And maybe one contrasting color, but to not go too crazy with colors, because sometimes I think that that's what ends up making things look kind of muddy. And so this project works well in the end because it's mostly just like blues, pinks, and reds, and purple, which are all really close to each other on the color wheel. Like there's some word for it that I can't think of right now, and somebody's probably thinking of it, but that's okay. And so I am just using that all over. Now, if I had Ranger Multi Matte Medium, that would probably be better than Mod Podge, but I didn't have any, so, and the Mod Podge works just well. So again, the trick for mixed media is keep layering. Layering is what's going to make it look really good. And the other thing that is really going to help is to just keep going until you're happy with it. So when I was at this stage, I was like, I don't know if this is going to work out. I don't know if it's going to actually look okay, but I just kept going. So that's what I want to encourage you to do too. Until it looks like what you want it to look like, then you can keep going. And the nice thing with mixed media is layers make it look better. So I ended up deciding that I wanted more of that tissue paper, so I just tore up more pieces. I did it again, spread the glue right on the canvas, and just stuck down more of those pieces, sort of layering them all over top of each other, going in different directions and stuff like that. And I find what works best for layering tissue paper is to put some glue on one side of the tissue paper or on the canvas, stick it down, and then put more on top. That just helps it to show the color underneath and helps it to lay flat as well. So yeah, I hope you guys are doing well. I don't do many of these mixed media projects like on camera, and honestly it's because I don't think I'm like necessarily like the best mixed media artist out there. So I feel nervous sharing these kind of projects like by video, but I've done a couple of them now, and every time I do them I get a lot of people asking for more. So I'm gonna try to share them more. The truth is, I do these projects all the time, I just don't always share them. Like, I do them for myself, and I really enjoy them. And I think they're such a fun gift to give to somebody who's getting married, or for a new baby room. I've done some things like that. I've also done some, this one is actually for a friend who's moving, so it's like a housewarming gift. So they're really great gifts, and they're unique because nobody can find them anywhere else. So next thing I did was I grabbed out all of my different sprays. I've held them up for you so you can check them out if you want to go back and pause it. Some of them are Dylusions, some of them are Distress inks, and I think one of them was Mr. Huey's from Studio Calico. And I just went with blues and greens, and I sprayed them all over the canvas, let it drip a little bit, and then I'm going to dry that. So you can see that's the layer there. And then I just wanted to make sure that everything was dry and sort of spread it out a little bit. So I grabbed a baby wipe and did that. And it just worked really well there. And it also picked up any of the leftover ink that was still on there. Okay, what's the next step? Okay, so the next step is to mute the background, which is crazy because I've just done all that work, but now I'm going to add gesso on top. But yeah, I do, and I think it actually looks so nice. So I just grabbed some gesso and my palette knife and just spread it all over, not being perfect or anything. You can see the layers underneath popping through, but they're not as bright, which works well because then my other layers will stand out better. So that's another tip for mixed media if you're working on projects, is to do a few layers and then add gesso or white paint on top, sparingly, but just add it on top, and then do more layers on top of that because, again, the layers just look really pretty. And this gesso is Faber-Castell. It's empty. I need to get a new one, so I won't be able to make another project until I get another one. Next, I grabbed some stencils, and I had this Heidi Swap one, which had these large polka dots on it, and I am using some gel medium to spread through the stencil. And gel medium dries clear, but it does add like a resist almost technique to the background, and also like another layer. And I decided to go with circles for this project. And that's another tip for your mixed media projects, is try to pick like one or two kind of elements and repeat it multiple times. So you're going to see me use circles multiple times throughout this project. And then after that gel medium was dry, I grabbed out my Distress inks and a mini distress brush and just spread those around, some over top of the circles, some in other places. And again, I was just going with those like bluish purple, blue, turquoise, mint. I added a little bit of purple in there. You'll see me do that in just a minute, and a tiny bit of green. And just to highlight different places on the canvas and to take it up a notch. I love using distress inks on like this on canvases. Look at that purple. Isn't that gorgeous? Oh, I love the purple. It's like the perfect little element there. And because the background is not flat anymore, it has all these different layers, the distress inks go on really nice. Like it has like a fun, like it doesn't go on perfectly, which is really cool. So I also grabbed the distress. That's another thing you can do. You can just grab the mini distress ink and just sort of like smush it right on the canvas. So to finish that layer, I sprayed it with some water so that the distress inks could blend and mix together. And then I let it drip. Then I let it dry. The next stage, I grabbed this thing that I had made that I saw this technique on Facebook actually. Somebody linked me up to a video. They used their hot glue gun to make a stencil. So I made this stencil that's a bunch of circles, laid it on my page where I wanted it, and then I sprayed my Distress inks through that hot glue stencil that I had created. And I used darker colors of Distress inks and darker colors of mist this time. I used like purples and blues for those. One's Mr. Huey's, two are Distress inks. And then I'm just going to let that dry for a minute. And I did use my heat gun a little bit for that as well. Now for my next layer, I am going to mix up some colored molding paste or modeling paste. So I grabbed some modeling paste, I added a couple of the purple mist to it to get it to the color that I wanted to get to. I had to mix a couple of them. I wanted it to be like this darkish purple plum kind of color. So once I had mixed it up and I had got it to the color that I was looking for, then I'm going to apply it onto my project. And again, I used a stencil with circles, so you're seeing that circle element almost 3 times there. You saw it underneath with the gel, then with the circle glue gun stencil that I made, and then also with these little circle modeling paste elements. So I went through that center section there, and then also a couple off to the side just to add a little extra dimension. And then I let that dry. Okay, I'm almost done. The next step is to add some drips. So I sprayed the canvas also with the color that I wanted. I also added some water so it would be a little more runny. And I tilted the canvas when I did it and let it drip down. And then I grabbed one more color, the red, which is just sort of like to bring some more contrast to it, and let that dry. And here's the last step. I grabbed some gold embossing powder, sprinkled that on the canvas in certain places, mostly along that central part there, and then I heated up with my glue gun. And honestly guys, this is so pretty. It just adds like a gold fleck and it looks so nice. And that's it. After I let it dry, the project is done, and I am so happy with the way that it looks. I think it's going to look really pretty on my friend's wall, and I hope that she really likes it. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video as well. If you have any questions, comments, thoughts, if you want to know what anything is, let me know. Leave me a comment. I love hearing from you guys. Have a lovely day. Bye.